My heartfelt advice to my sisters is to definitely experience love, but in that love, never lose your self-respect. When a woman destroys her self-respect in the name of love, that love also destroys her. The person she loves does not even give her respect, and it often leaves her mentally broken. This is a tragedy in today's society. If someone takes a step away from you, step 10 steps away from them. Never become so emotionally attached to anyone that you feel life is impossible without them. Around us, there are many such stories where a woman gives everything she has to one person, but that person doesn't value or respect her even a little, and eventually abandons her. There once lived a young woman named Sophia, the daughter of a wealthy and respected family. She grew up in a world of comfort and privilege, surrounded by love, education, and opportunity. Her parents had always dreamed of a perfect match for her, someone of equal status, someone educated, someone who could respect her family and their traditions. But Sophia's heart had its own dreams. She believed in love, not in social status or wealth. She wanted a partner who cared for her, who valued her for her heart, not her bank account. And in her college years, she met Daniel, a man from a middle-class background who worked in her family's household. He was charming, witty, and seemingly kind. Despite the obvious differences in social standing, Sophia felt drawn to him. He understood her in a way no one else did. He made her laugh, he listened to her worries, and he shared stories of his own life with a sincerity that touched her deeply. Soon, Sophia fell in love with him, completely, hopelessly, and without reservation. Her parents noticed the growing bond and were concerned. Daniel is not from our world, they warned. He may not value the life we've built for you. Think carefully before making decisions that cannot be undone. Sophia, however, listened only to her heart. She believed that love could overcome everything. When Daniel proposed, she accepted, against her parents' wishes. She married him with hope in her heart, dreaming of a life filled with love, trust, and mutual respect. At first, life seemed perfect. Daniel was attentive, affectionate, and considerate. He complimented her, helped her in small ways, and made her feel needed. Sophia felt lucky. She had found a love that seemed genuine, a love that made her feel alive. But slowly, little by little, things began to change. Daniel's requests became demands. Small favors turned into large expectations. Sophia noticed subtle shifts. The way he asked for money, the way he commented on her spending, and the way he tried to control her decisions. At first, she ignored it, thinking it was temporary. She told herself, he loves me. He wouldn't hurt me. This is just a phase. But then came the day when she realized that nothing she had belonged to her anymore. Her money, her possessions, her freedom, all slowly slipped out of her hands. Daniel had begun taking control, not over her heart, but over her wealth. Sophia tried to reason with herself. Love sometimes asks for sacrifice, she thought. She believed that if she gave everything, he would love her more, trust her more, and their bond would grow stronger. But instead, his greed and control grew. And then the ultimate betrayal happened. When Sophia had nothing left, not money, not possessions, not even her sense of security, Daniel kicked her out of the house. There was no apology, no remorse, no explanation. He had married her, gained her trust, drained her resources, and when she was empty, he discarded her like she had no value. To make matters worse, he married her best friend, a woman Sophia had trusted completely, and brought her into the home Sophia had once lived in with pride and hope. Sophia's heart shattered. The emotional trauma was immense. She felt anger, betrayal, confusion, and grief. She had given all of herself, her love, loyalty, and trust, and in return, she received cruelty, deception, and abandonment. Even in the depths of heartbreak, Sophia remembered the words that had guided her. Never lose your self-respect. True love will never ask you to sacrifice your dignity. And slowly, she began to rise. After Daniel left and married her best friend, Sophia felt as if her entire world had collapsed. The home she once loved, filled with memories and hope, now seemed like a hollow cage of betrayal. She couldn't understand how someone she had trusted completely could treat her with such cruelty. Days turned into weeks. At first, Sophia cried herself to sleep every night. She replayed every memory of Daniel's charm, every moment she had believed in his love. She wondered if she had been blind all along, if she had missed the signs, the small manipulations, the way he slowly drained her wealth and dignity. Her friends tried to comfort her. They told her that what Daniel did was wrong, that he had no right to treat her this way. But Sophia couldn't shake the feeling of shame and helplessness. She felt betrayed, not just by Daniel, but by the person she considered her closest friend. The one she trusted to support her, her best friend, had joined in the betrayal. For the first time in her life, Sophia realized the true cost of losing self-respect in the name of love. She had given everything, her money, her loyalty, her trust, and her heart. And yet, she had nothing to show for it. She felt empty, powerless, and completely alone. She avoided social gatherings, couldn't bear to face the world, and spent hours replaying every detail of her past, wondering what she could have done differently. She questioned herself. Was love ever worth it? Was loyalty ever rewarded? It was in this darkness that Sophia made a decision. She realized that her worth was not tied to a man, a marriage, or even the approval of others. Her dignity, her self-respect, and her mind were hers alone. Things no one could steal if she chose to hold on to them. Sophia began slowly. She moved into a small apartment, away from the reminders of her past. She focused on herself, her health, her education, and her mental strength. She started reconnecting with old friends who genuinely cared for her. And she learned the value of boundaries. Every day, she reminded herself of a simple truth. No one deserves your everything if they cannot even respect you. Even though the pain of betrayal lingered, Sophia began to feel something she hadn't felt in a long time. Hope. She realized that love could exist in the future, but only with someone who respected her, valued her, and treated her as an equal. Months passed. Sophia's confidence slowly returned. She started attending social events, engaging in her hobbies, and even helping other women understand the importance of self-respect in relationships. She shared her story quietly, hoping that her experience could serve as a lesson for others. Love is beautiful, but dignity is priceless. She also began reflecting on Daniel's betrayal. She realized that no amount of anger or regret could bring back what she had lost, but her response to the situation could define the rest of her life. Sophia decided she would not let anger, bitterness, or heartbreak consume her. She would rise, stronger and wiser, carrying the lessons of her past as armor for the future. Sophia's days began to change slowly. The pain was still there, a quiet ache in her heart, but now it came with lessons. She understood that love without respect is not love at all, and that no one is worth giving up your self-respect for. She started small. Every morning, she reminded herself that she was strong, capable, and deserving of genuine care. She didn't need validation from the man who had betrayed her, or from the friend who had sided with him. She only needed to believe in herself. One afternoon, Sophia went to a cafe she had always loved but had stopped visiting during the dark days after the betrayal. Sitting by the window, she watched people around her, couples laughing, friends chatting, strangers sharing stories. She felt a twinge of sadness, but also a spark of hope. She realized that life was bigger than her heartbreak. It was in that moment she made a decision. She would never let someone control her heart or her happiness again. She would allow herself to love in the future, but only with someone who valued her for her worth, not for her wealth, her loyalty, or her trust. Sophia also began speaking openly about her experience with women she trusted. She shared how she had lost everything, wealth, possessions, and trust, because she put someone else above her own dignity. She explained how giving everything in love does not guarantee respect or loyalty. Her story resonated with many. Women came to her for advice, sharing their own struggles. Sophia realized that her pain could become a source of strength, guidance, and inspiration. By sharing her journey, she helped others understand that self-respect is the foundation of any healthy relationship. One day, while walking through the park, Sophia saw Daniel and her former best friend passing by. They were together, laughing, unaware of her gaze. A pang of anger rose, but she took a deep breath and let it go. In that moment, she understood a powerful truth. She no longer needed their validation, their approval, or even their recognition. Their betrayal was their burden, not hers. She had learned to value herself more than any relationship, more than any love that demanded she lose her dignity. Sophia's transformation was not instant, and it was not easy. There were nights when tears came, memories haunted her, and anger threatened to consume her. But each day, she chose to rise. Each day, she chose self-respect over heartbreak. Each day, she chose herself. By the end of the year, Sophia had rebuilt her life. She had new friends, a new home, and a renewed sense of confidence. She realized that love could be beautiful, but the greatest love she would ever experience was the love she gave herself. Months had passed since the betrayal. Sophia had learned to wake up each day with one goal: to reclaim her life, her happiness, and her dignity. She knew that no amount of wealth or status could heal the emptiness that comes from giving yourself to someone who does not deserve it. Sophia began to explore her passions. She enrolled in courses she had always wanted to take, but had postponed during her marriage. Writing, art, and business became her focus. With every small achievement, she felt a surge of confidence she hadn't experienced in years. She also began volunteering at women's support groups, sharing her story to guide others. She would tell them, "Never lose yourself in love. Loyalty is not weakness, but self-respect is strength. Love should never cost your dignity." Many women listened with tears in their eyes. They shared their own stories of heartbreak and betrayal. Sophia realized that her pain had transformed into power and purpose, and that gave her a new sense of fulfillment she had never felt before. One evening, while walking through the city streets, Sophia passed by Daniel and her former best friend again. This time, she did not feel anger, envy, or sadness. Instead, she felt peace. She had moved beyond their betrayal. Their laughter no longer haunted her. Their choices no longer defined her. Sophia understood that the true victory was not in revenge or regret. The victory was in surviving heartbreak, reclaiming self-respect, and living a life on her own terms. As she continued her journey, Sophia discovered the importance of boundaries in relationships. She learned to love, care, and give, but only to those who reciprocated respect and value. She realized that being vulnerable did not mean being weak. It meant being human, but that vulnerability must never come at the cost of self-respect. Sophia's transformation inspired everyone around her. Her family, who had once doubted her choices, saw her strength, independence, and wisdom. Her friends admired her resilience. And most importantly, she admired herself. By the time the next year rolled in, Sophia had fully embraced her new life. She lived independently, focused on her dreams, and built meaningful connections with people who valued her. She understood that happiness is not given by others. It is claimed by those who honor themselves first. Sophia had lost much in her past, but in her losses, she found herself, and that was priceless. Sophia had learned to live with the memories of betrayal, but instead of letting them weigh her down, she turned them into lessons. She knew now that her self-worth could never depend on someone else, and that true love starts with loving yourself. She spent her days working on her passions, building her career, and helping other women understand the importance of self-respect in relationships. She shared her story openly at women's circles, online forums, and community groups. Every time she spoke, someone would approach her, tears in their eyes, saying, "I went through the same thing, and hearing your story gives me hope." Hearing that, Sophia felt a sense of purpose she had never felt before. Her heartbreak had not been wasted. It had become a tool to help others protect themselves. Sophia also learned the power of forgiveness, not for Daniel or her former best friend, but for herself. She realized that holding on to anger or regret would only hurt her. She forgave herself for trusting, for loving, for being vulnerable, because none of that was wrong. The wrong had been on them, not her. With forgiveness came freedom. She could walk through the city streets without flinching when she saw Daniel. She could smile without feeling guilty. She could enjoy life again without fear of betrayal controlling her every thought. Her friends noticed the change. The confident, strong, and radiant woman they saw now was unrecognizable from the Sophia who had been broken months ago. But beneath her smile, Sophia carried a quiet strength, a strength forged in heartbreak, betrayal, and loss. And though she had learned to protect her heart, Sophia remained open to love, but now, with clear boundaries. She understood that love should uplift, respect, and honor. Anything less was not worth her time, energy, or heart. One day, Sophia received a message from a woman she had helped. She thanked Sophia for sharing her story and for teaching her the importance of self-respect. Sophia smiled as she read it. In that moment, she realized something profound. Her past had not destroyed her. It had shaped her. Her heartbreak had given her wisdom. Her pain had given her purpose. And her self-respect had given her life back. Sophia knew she would never allow anyone to diminish her again. She would continue living fully, loving wisely, and inspiring others to protect the most precious thing they have, their dignity and self-respect. Years had passed since Sophia's heartbreak, but the lessons she learned remained alive in her heart. She had built a life defined by her own choices, her own dignity, and her own values. No one could take that away from her. Not Daniel, not her former best friend, and not the betrayals of the past. Sophia had become a source of inspiration in her community. She held workshops for young women, sharing her story and teaching them how to recognize red flags in relationships. She emphasized the importance of self-respect, independence, and emotional boundaries. Love is beautiful, she would say, but never at the cost of your dignity. Never let someone's presence define your happiness. Your self-worth comes from within, not from another person. Even in her personal life, Sophia was careful and mindful. She learned to trust slowly, to value herself first, and to ensure that anyone entering her life respected her heart and her choices. She had discovered that true love is never blind, never selfish, and never disrespectful. Sophia also found joy in small things, her work, her friendships, her creative pursuits. She traveled, explored new experiences, and rediscovered her own passions. Her life was no longer defined by betrayal, but by the freedom and strength she had claimed for herself. One evening, while attending a community event, Sophia spoke on stage. Hundreds of women listened intently as she shared her journey. "I lost everything once. Wealth, trust, and love. But I gained something far greater, myself. I realized that no person, no relationship, no betrayal can define you unless you let it. Protect your heart, honor your dignity, and remember, you are your greatest treasure." The applause was thunderous. Tears filled the eyes of many who had faced similar struggles. Sophia felt a deep sense of fulfillment. She had turned her pain into strength, her heartbreak into wisdom, and her losses into purpose. Sophia never forgot the man who betrayed her, or the friend who sided with him. But she no longer felt anger or sadness toward them. She had learned that forgiveness is freedom, not for the betrayer, but for herself. Holding on to the past only chained her to pain, and she had chosen freedom instead. Her life was no longer about what she had lost. It was about what she had gained: strength, resilience, self-respect, and the ability to inspire others. Sophia's journey became a beacon for countless women, showing them that true love begins with loving yourself and that no heartbreak can diminish your worth if you refuse to let it. Sophia had rebuilt her life outwardly. She moved to a new home, started working, and even tried to help other women by sharing her story. But deep inside, the betrayal she had endured had left invisible scars. The nights were the hardest. Memories of Daniel and her former best friend haunted her relentlessly. She replayed every moment, every word, every act of betrayal in her mind, unable to escape the pain. Sleep became impossible. Her thoughts spiraled out of control. Gradually, Sophia began withdrawing from everyone. She stopped socializing, stopped going out, and stopped taking care of herself. Even her passions and work no longer gave her comfort. Her mind was trapped in constant fear, anger, and grief. Friends and family tried to help, but Sophia could no longer trust anyone. She began speaking to herself, hallucinating conversations with Daniel and her former best friend. She believed she could hear them laughing at her, mocking her losses. The woman who had once been confident, strong, and full of life was now a shadow of herself. She wandered through rooms, muttering, crying, and at times laughing without reason. Her heart had been broken beyond repair, and her mind could no longer cope with the betrayal she had suffered. Sophia's story became a tragic reminder. Even loyalty, love, and self-sacrifice cannot always protect a person from the cruelty of others. When a heart is shattered deeply enough, it can destroy not just trust and hope, but also mental health and sanity. The tragedy was complete. Sophia's life, once full of potential, dreams, and love, had been stolen not just by betrayal, but by the emotional wounds that never healed. The woman who had given everything, trusted blindly, and loved wholeheartedly had been left broken, both in spirit and in mind. Her story became a cautionary tale, a grim lesson about love, betrayal, and the importance of self-respect, because sometimes losing yourself for someone else comes with irreversible consequence.